Hi guys, good morning. This is your video for Friday, March the 30th. My best part of my week last week was getting to have a little FaceTime with you guys on Teams. It was kind of a disaster, so I learned a lot from that, but I also feel like in regards to review, this method works really well. So I'm going to do a quick review of the legislative branch. Based upon the questions that you submitted on forms. Now, some of you guys submitted questions that were answered like within the first couple of minutes of the video, so that told me you didn't watch it. And that's why you got the remind with, hey, watch the video. But anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about it. The whole entire purpose of the legislative branch is to make laws. The executive branch enforces them, the legislative branch makes them, the judicial branch interprets them. So that is their whole purpose. So what does a legislator do? They sit, they study, they look at legislation, and they pass it or veto it or amend it to make laws, okay? There is not a major difference between the House and the Senate in regards to power. There are more representatives in the House because remember back when we talked about the Compromise of 1850, we turned our unicameral legislation into a bicameral. So it's just like that, okay? Your House is based upon population. Your Senate is based upon a set number of representatives. So that is the whole purpose of why there's more. Their power is no different, okay? There is one difference. House of Representatives, remember we talked about this in the other video, they look at spending bills. So anything that is an appropriation or an expenditure when it comes to spending starts in the House. It will always start with the House, okay? The Senate has the power to confirm the governor's appointment. So remember when we talked about how some of the governor's people are elected officials, others are appointed by him. The Senate appoints the Senate can confirm his appointments. So that's the only difference between the two. So the House does spending bills, the Senate can confirm the governor's appointments. Where does a bill originate? So a bill can originate with a legislator or a citizen. So if you want to make a bill, Brooks, you can find out who your local legislator is, and there is an app, or a webpage called Find Your Legislator. You type in your address, and it tells you who is your senator and who is your representative. You can contact them because they are elected officials who are working for you to represent you. If you submit an idea for a new piece of legislation to them, if they agree with that, they can move forward and try to work your bill into the session. So basically, you have to find a sponsor for your bill. Then the legislator has to find other people to sponsor the bill, other legislators that are working that will come in, support the bill, and help for it to get passed in the session. The legislatures go through about 1,200 different pieces of legislation per session, 40-day session, that lasts a long period of time because they take breaks, but 40 working days. If a bill is vetoed by the governor, what happens to it? And it does not get a 1/3 override, then it is dead for that session. Is it dead permanently? No. They can always bring it back and try to pass it over and over again in different years. How long does it take to pass the average bill? That I am not sure, but if it does not make it through session in the 40-day period that they have, it rolls over into the next year, and it is a topic of business for the next year. So remember, when it starts at the top, it starts with whoever originated it, okay? If you get your senator to sponsor your bill, then it's going to start in the Senate. If you get a representative to sponsor your bill, then it starts in the House, okay? Once they have it, they give it a number. The clerk writes it in legal form. Then it is assigned to a committee. The committee studies it, and once the committee makes a recommendation for it, it goes on calendar. So they have a calendar of when that bill is going to come to the floor to be debated. So people who want it to be passed will come ready with evidence, and people who are against the bill will come ready with evidence to fight against it. And then the legislators in that house hash it out, debate it out, and then they have a final vote. And if it is voted in and they agree on it, then it moves over to the next house where it goes through the same process. All right, let me look at your list. Can a state bill go to the national level? Yes, but it'll have to go through this same process except in the federal level, which would be Congress. So remember, in our balance of government, states have rights and the federal government has rights. So states get to decide small little details of things that will affect them, whereas the federal government makes other larger laws that go over the entire country. So yes, a state bill could move on into the federal level, but it would have to go through Congress in the exact same way. It would have to go through the Senate to be approved. It would have to go through the House and be approved. And then the president would then have the power to amend it, to kill it, or veto it, or not to sign it. Who keeps tracks of the governor's 40 days? So there is a calendar. So there's a calendar laid out, and everyone knows exactly how many days once it has been done. And the governor is held to his number of days. I didn't want to get into too much detail of that because I felt like with us not being in class, I'm trying to give you an abbreviated foundation versus getting too crazy with things. But they do have a calendar that they keep with in the legislation, and they have specific dates that each bill will be brought up into their chamber to move forward. If a legislature dies, that was another question, they have to hold a special election to replace him. Do the presiding officers meet with the governor? I don't think that they meet with the governor on an official basis. I actually looked pretty hard trying to find a specific answer to that question, and I could not. So if any of you do find it, please let me know. Why wouldn't the governor's name be attached to one he did not sign? That was an interesting question because remember, the governor can kill or veto it and it can be overridden. He can sign it, or he can do nothing and then it turns into a law. I just think it's a different thing because when you go to run for a different political office, so if our governor were then to run for president, everything he signs becomes part of his political history. So I don't know, his name might sort of be related to it, but I think it's an openly showing of support for a bill once you attach your name to it. That is the only answer I could come up with. I think that is all. I do love the idea that you guys have plenty of time. If you did have a piece of legislation you wanted to bring up, it would be so cool if you did do that. I'd love to help you with the process if anyone is interested. I will put the link to find your legislator on my blog this week so you can take a look and you can figure out who it is. We all have the same ones. You guys were doing such a good job. I cannot thank you enough for all your hard work and effort, for your comments. I did another tally, and week 2, period 1 is still in the lead, but period 7 is a very, very close second in participation with online activities, with class averages, etc. And you guys are killing it. And I so appreciate all of your hard work. We are looking at making some amendments to some stuff, and I will keep you updated. We are thinking about having Fridays be a catch-up day, so you might not get work from us on Fridays, but we're going to solidify that this week. After you take your, there's a couple of opportunities for review beside this video on the blog. So once you've done the review that you need to do, then you can take your learning check. There will be a scavenger hunt tomorrow that'll help answer some more of your questions about the legislative branch. And then there's going to be a little project to do on Wednesday and Thursday, and you can kind of space your time out with that. And then you will have spring break next week. So I'm going to try to maybe touch base with you guys online one day this week, and we'll organize it a little different. I miss you all. I hope that you're settling in. The first 2 weeks was a learning experience, but I feel like I got a good handle on it, and seems like you guys are doing a really good job, and I'm just so proud of you. So I want to give this week's shout outs. Period 1. I wonder if I had an online class, would Caroline Kirka and her sister trade? Would I know the difference? I think I might. From period 2, I wonder if Jordan actually still sneezes like 6 times in a row, or if she was really just showing off while she was in class. Period 3, I wonder if Matthew begs his mom to take out the trash as hard as he did to take out the trash during DMS challenge. I kind of bet not. I wonder for period 6, how many questions Megan Tate asked her mom. Do you think her mom has all the answers? Megan, I kind of missed the questions. There's no one here to ask me questions. You can always email me. And period 7, I wonder if Vince has become a rap superstar in his spare time. It was that one rap he did at the beginning of the year. I kind of hope he might do another one soon and send it in for next week's project. Y'all know where to find me. Please keep talking to me. Text, emails, Google Voice, any way you want to. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you do great on your legislative branch learning check.